All right, so we're going to try this. We'll see how it goes. We're here in Bandera, Texas with our fellowship. Everybody say hi. All right, and we're going to try to record this as we are here at our Friday night, and then we'll see how it goes. But we're in Numbers chapter 8, and we are looking at Beha'alotcha, which is what they say is that it is the idea of when you light the candles or when you go up, but the better translation is when you ascend, right? Or when you rise up to that level. And so we could look at a lot of different sections of this portion. There's an overview there where you've got the consecration of the Levites. You've got the first Passover in Sinai. You've got, which is actually second Passover. We've got silver trumpets. We've got the 70 elders, which Jewish people turned into the Sanhedrin, but that's not necessarily how that transpired. But, you know, that's fine for them. The quail, right? The complaints, all the different things that are happening. And then finally, his closest advisors, Moses' closest advisors, his brother and sister, complaining against him and getting jealous, right? So great stuff in this Torah portion that we can relate to all of it, but we are going to talk about, and Mary has changed none of the slides, but which I am on the, do I need to make a ding sound like that? Or, we're on slide 6. Our focus is going to be the light of the world, okay? We're going to talk about the light of the world.
There we go, I got it.
And the light of the world is what we find in Numbers 8, right? And we are going to be dealing with the menorah, all right? Have you guys ever looked at the menorah closely? All right, so y'all probably know everything I'm already going to tell you, but it's going to be fun. It is going to be fun anyway. So Numbers chapter 8, beginning in verse 1, it says this. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron and say to him, when you mount the lamps, that's that word, Beha'alotcha. Okay, I'm not very good at saying it, but it's when you ascend is what it says. When you ascend to the lamps. The 7 lamps will give light in front of the lampstand. Aaron therefore did so. He mounted its lamps at the front of the lampstand, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Now this was the workmanship of the lampstand. Hammered work of gold from its base to its flowers, it was hammered work, according to the pattern which the Lord had shown Moses, so he made the lampstand. Okay, so what is this? What is this menorah? All right. This menorah is a candlestick. Actually, most of the time in the English translation, it calls it a candlestick. 99% of the Old Testament, when it says candlestick, the word is menorah. 75% of the New Testament, when it says candlestick, it's menorah. Okay, very few times, or lampstand, yeah. So different translations say different things, but we've got 7 candles, right, representing 7 lights, 7 feasts, the 7 days of creation, the 7 millenniums from now until the millennial reign of Messiah, the 7 churches, the 7, keep going, right? The 7, huh? 7 seals, right? 7 seals. Did we say the 7 churches already in Revelation? The 7 rivers coming out of Eden, right? Where everything happened to begin with. The 7 colors of the rainbow, the 7 heavens, right? All these different things that we could start to talk about. All of these things are part of what the menorah represents. But we're going to look at something specific here today. I mentioned that word when you set up the lampstands, right? But if you look at the first occurrences there, it never says when you set up. It talks about going up. It says when you went up, when you arose, when you ascended. There's a very different connotation to this word than just setting up the lampstands. We get this picture, if I say he's setting up the lampstands, right? We get this, just this picture of having a menorah and the priest is going and lighting them. But there's something more being said here in the Hebrew. If we broke down just that verse, we could be here all day, okay? Because there's actually several words missing. There's an העלתך in there that's really important that's missing. There is the word panim in there that's missing. You know what the word panim is? Face. It talks about the face of the light, right? Or the face of the menorah, which direction it's facing. So we're going to talk about a few of those things, but this word is used over 800 times, and it's hardly ever set up. It's going up, rising up, ascending, offering up. It's all of these things, right? So get that idea in your head when we're talking about this picture. So when it says, when you ascend, what are we ascending for? Okay, now let me tell you this. The lampstand that's in the tabernacle and then perpetually in the temple. Everything okay? We good? Okay, you're good. All right. I just didn't know if I had something weird. It was like you knew that guy or something on the screen. Oh, no. If you copied me, then I copied like a billion people on the internet, so it's all right. Anyway, so what are they ascending for? Because here, the lampstand is 4.5 feet tall, okay? Now, I'm not being comical, but we read already in Leviticus that a midget cannot be a priest, okay? I'm not being comical, but it says that. A dwarfed man cannot be a priest, okay? I am technically not a dwarf, okay? I'm close, but I'm not quite there. Yeah, high five, Vanessa. We're good. But the point being, there was no reason for them to have steps, okay? They didn't need steps to get up to that. We don't read about any steps in front of the menorah. So what are they ascending to? What is the idea here? So what we're going to say is, okay, we're put that on the side for a second. What is the menorah doing in the tabernacle? Okay? The menorah is doing something very significant. It represents what? Light. It's giving light to the whole area. There's not other things in the temple or in the tabernacle giving light. This is the source of light. It represents truth. It is to be kept burning at all times. Those wicks and those lights are not supposed to go out. It requires the consecrated oil, right? That's the big deal, is that it takes 7 days to purify this oil, right? To consecrate this oil. It's a special blend of oils. And he even tells us, don't make this blend for anything else. This is only for the light of the temple, right? And it allows the people around it to see clearly. I was thinking about this. I'm not going to get too personal, but I was showering, and when I shower, I have to take my glasses off, and I am blind, okay? I am absolutely blind when I don't have my glasses on. And I have the wash rag, and I set it down. I have no glasses on, and then I wash my hair that I don't have, and it's just a habit. I don't know why, but we do that. And then I'm looking around for the rag, and I can't find it because I can't see. I have my glasses off. I can't see, and I'm looking, and I have to get like this close to the little hangy basket thing to realize, oh, it's right there. It's just the same color as the hangy thing. And so it was all blending in for me because I cannot see, right?
It's great when I do laundry.
So the idea being this: when we do not have the light, when we do not have the menorah, we're lost. Okay? The idea of the menorah is shedding light, shining light on what is going on. They referred to the tabernacle and the tent of meeting, and later on the temple, they referred to it as the light of the world. Does that sound familiar? The light of the world, a city on the hill. This is speaking about the tabernacle and the temple. And what is the light inside of there? It's the menorah. So this is the light of the world that we're talking about. So that's a lot of mumbo jumbo for us to ask this: how in the world does that apply to us? Right? So let's look at this. When we look at the Old Testament, there's something concealed that the scriptures, the language, Messiah, the New Testament is going to reveal to us that we need to understand, okay? So Proverbs 6 tells us something really, really interesting. And listen to the language here. My son, observe the commandments of your father, and do not forsake the teaching of your mother. Now, that's a very important statement that all of us have heard throughout our lives as a way for us to be controlled by our parents and make sure we do what they say. But is that what that scripture is saying? Because if you go into the Hebrew, there's some העלתכs in there. So what's being talked about here is the fact that it's the Father's commandments. Probably coming from the mouth of your father, yes. And the Father's teaching coming from the mouth of your mother, right? And he says this, because listen to the rest of this, and it'll make sense that that's what's being talked about here. Bind them continually on your heart. Where is he going to write his commandments? According to Jeremiah 31, on our hearts, right? Tie them around your neck. When you walk about, they will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. When you awake, they will talk to you. For the commandment is a lamp, and the teaching is a light. And reproofs for discipline are the way of life. So he tells us right here something really significant that relates to what we just read about the menorah. The commandments are the lamp. He just told us that. I just told you what the word lamp in scripture is. What is it? Menorah. Okay? So the commandments are the lamp, and the Torah is the light. Here's something really significant about that. Everybody say the word Torah. Okay? Everybody say the word or. Say Torah. Do you know what the word or means? Light. The word light is actually in the Torah. All of this goes together, right? The idea of the light of God is in the Torah. The Torah is the instructions, right? It's the instructions of the commandments. It's kind of like when we were talking about the covenant being the relationship and the terms of the covenant being the law, right? That's the idea here. The commandments are the lamp. The Torah, the instruction of those commandments, is the light, right? So could it be that the ascending that we are speaking about here is the priests and those who are going to bring light to the world ascending to do the commandments? Is the light then us doing the commandments and showing the world the ways of Yah? Okay, I'm going to give you some proof of this, that it could be. Okay, here we have a menorah. It's not to scale because the priest is not that short or the menorah is not that big, one of the two. But you rarely see this picture of a menorah, and I'm going to tell you why. You see that purple line going up is that center lampstand. That center lampstand is known as the Ner Elohim. It is the light of God. Okay? And then notice there are 6 branches. They don't come from the base. They come from the center stand, which is the light of God. But if you look at the cups at the top, so all of those cups would detach. But when they set them up, and this is where we miss the language because we have Hebrew. See, this was going to be the problem. He did this to me earlier, by the way, when I was testing this. All of those little basins, right, would hold a lamp, and all of those lamps were supposed to face panim. Their face was supposed to be towards the light of God. So all of them were supposed to face towards the middle. So you have 6 branches coming off the light of God, but all of the faces of those branches where the light is coming from are pointing towards the center branch, which is the light of God. Who do you think the light of God would be? Just take a wild guess. Well, we won't have to guess. Let's just read John 8. All right. When Jesus again spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. So the Pharisees said to him, you are testifying about yourself. Your testimony is not true. And Jesus answered, Yeshua said to them, even if I testify about myself, my testimony is true, for I know where I came from and where I am going. He's saying, I am the light of God. I came from God. I'm going to God, right? but you do not know where I came from or where I am going. So here we have Yeshua saying he is the light of the world. He is that center light. You want more proof? Let me give it to you. Isaiah 11. We didn't say this one about the 7 branches, but it says, then a shoot will spring from the stem of Jesse. Okay, stop for a second. I want you to picture the menorah. There's a basin, right? There's a stem shooting up the center, right? And a branch from the roots will bear fruit. What is that fruit? The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him. The Spirit of wisdom. These are the 7 spirits of Yahweh. Spirit of the Lord, Spirit of wisdom, of understanding, counsel, strength, the Spirit of knowledge, and the fear of the Lord. And listen to what he says. And he will delight in the fear of the Lord, and he will not judge by what his eye sees, nor make decisions by what he hears. So Isaiah 11 gives us this idea of what's happening here. We've got the center branch shooting up, the branch of Jesse shooting up from the center, and he is coming to us with the 7 attributes or the 7 spirits of Yahweh. There's the 7 spirits there. We start with the Spirit of the Lord in the middle, right? Because he's the light of God. So he's carrying the Spirit of the Lord. Okay, I promise we'll talk about all this in a minute. So Yeshua, the light of God, the light of the world, rose up and showed us that he fulfilled the commandments. And when we saw him fulfill the commandments, we saw God's ways, right? Okay, let's look at this in a little more carefully. All right, I gave you 2 duplicate slides there. Okay, but look at what it says in Matthew 5. Because this is our big passage that we like to quote in Torah, right? Do not think that I came to abolish the law or the prophets. I did not come to abolish, but to fulfill. Okay, so he said this is why he came up. This is why this shoot came up from Jesse, to fulfill the commandments. Remember, the idea of fill means to fill it up, right, with meaning. Interestingly enough, the oil that fills the candlesticks is the pure olive oil with the other things added, right? And the priest's job is to fill each one of those canisters that is going on the top of the menorah, right? So he said, I'm filling up the law. I'm showing you what this means, right? For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest stroke shall pass from the law, which that word there is Torah, until all is accomplished. And then whoever annuls one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do the same shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. So they're still there. They're just the least, okay? But whoever keeps and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say to you, unless your righteousness surpasses the scribes and Pharisees, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Now that's a really important statement. Weren't the scribes and the Pharisees doing the commandments? Okay, let's pretend for a second that they were. Okay? Because yes, they were making up their own rules. Yes, they were adding stuff to it. Yes, they were taking things out of it. But they appeared, let me say it this way. Did they appear to be doing the commandments to the people around them? Yeah, they appeared to be doing the commandments. This is the importance of the menorah, right? Where are those cups facing? They're facing the light of God. Would you be surprised to find out that on this Sermon on the Mount, when Yeshua says these words in chapter 5, verse 17, that they are preceded by this in verse 14? You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill, a city ascending up a hill cannot be hidden, nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men. So the light is shining before men, but what is it doing? In such a way that they see your good works, but they do what? They glorify your Father who is in heaven. See, that's what the Pharisees weren't doing. Look at my good works. Look at my good works. I'm doing the commandments. I'm doing the commandments. But they want the attention on them. That's not facing the basins towards the light of the world and allowing the light to go upwards to bring glory to him and light to the people, right? Completely different application. But that's what comes right before Yeshua says, I did not come to abolish the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them. So he's connecting the light of the world and us being the light of the world with him doing the commandments and filling them up. How did we miss this? Okay, so I'm going to end with this. So Yeshua, the menorah is teaching us that Yeshua is ascending to keep the commandments. And that Yeshua is doing this fully empowered by the Spirit. The 7 spirits of Yahweh. And now we can bear fruit if we remain in him and do the same. Right? Now this gives one of my favorite verses. This gives new meaning to this verse. Okay? Think about John 15. What does it say? I am the vine, you are the branches. Right? If we remain in him and he in us, his word in us, then we will do what? We're going to bear fruit. That's exactly what Isaiah 11 just said. A stem will shoot up from the base of Jesse. There'll be branches from it. Why? So that they can bear fruit. So here's the teaching in a nutshell. The menorah teaches us that if we keep our eyes on the light of God, Yeshua, and we do things the way he asks us to do them, the commandments, and we teach others to do the same, the Torah, the instructions, in order that he may be glorified and bring glory to God, then we are being the light of the world. Right? That was always such an abstract concept to me, that be the light of the world, right? You are the light of the world. What does that mean, right? This is what that means, okay? All right. Hopefully that made sense. If not, it's okay. To those of you joining us online, God bless you. Sorry if it was a little bumpy, but have a great rest of your Shabbat.